Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. I'm sitting here just outside the Landong area of Nanning City, and I'm going to do a panoramic view of the area. I'm on the bridge of Nanhu Lake just outside Landong, and you can see Nanning is a pretty big city. What I'm going to talk to you about today is what's it like to be a foreigner in China from day one and on. Well, when I came to China, I came to visit Weifang, and you know, the first thing I noticed is that I can't communicate with anybody. Weifang had 3 words: sit down please, and I had 1 word, "xi", which means thank you in Chinese. Other than that, you know, I was basically on my own, secluded. So to begin with, being a foreigner in China is really difficult to communicate with people. You know, over the years it's gotten easier for me, but you know, you're still sort of in your own bubble. You're secluded from the population of China, and you know, and they think differently because they speak differently, and they, you know, it's difficult. So being a foreigner in China, the language is the #1 problem, I guess, is what I would call it. A couple other things that I've noticed about being in China is I'm from a small community in Saskatchewan, Canada, and the sheer number of people, the lack of personal space is really difficult to deal with. Another one of the things that's really difficult for a foreigner in China is to get used to the food that they eat. The food that they eat here is totally different than anything that you can imagine. You know, I'm used to baked chicken gravy, potatoes, carrots smothered in butter, you know, stuff like that. Roast beef, pork chops, barbecued steaks, you know, baked potato with sour cream and chives, and you know, things like that. Here, they boil the chicken, and that makes the skin sort of a yellow, and you know, yeah, I eat the skin now, but for the first 10 years in China, I wouldn't even think about it, you know. They do have some really good stuff, like the barbecued duck is really good, or cha sao. It's the closest thing they have to bacon. It's like a fatty pork that I guess it's, you know, I don't know how they make it, but it's sweet, it's good. That's another thing here. No bacon, no ham. They have stuff in Walmart and places, you know, around that says it's bacon and ham, but it's not even close. But you know, the idea that the Chinese here, they eat a little bit of meat, always stir-fried, you know, veggies, no salad. All the veggies have to be cooked because that's just the way they do it. I think it stems from the idea that, you know, if you're eating vegetables that aren't washed, you'll get sick from them because there could be a pesticide on it or herbicide on it or whatever, and to wash it in the water that you can't drink, well, you know, and then make a salad, that's not going to work either, you know. So everything is cooked before you eat it. Even the water that comes out of the tap, you can't drink the water out of the tap until you boil it. So the boil water warning is on 100% of the time here in China. You know, in Canada, for entertainment, we do different things in Canada. You know, we hunt, we fish, we go drinking beer with our buddies, we go play pool, we have bonfires and barbecues and, you know, stuff like that. They do a lot of that stuff here in China also, but it's different. The fish, you can't eat it if you're bringing it out of the river. Barbecues, well, they put everything that gets barbecued on a stick. The beer, well, they'll leave the beer out in the sun until it gets skunky, and then they'll drink it. You know, hunting, well, there's nothing to hunt here. You know, so the difference between Canada and China is big, and it's hard for a foreigner to have the same type of life that they had in their country. So you've got to sort of reinvent yourself, and by reinvent yourself, I mean you have to find different things to do. You have to have you've got to have different hobbies. You know, having friends that you click with, and that's one of the biggest problems, is how do you click with people that you don't even know their language? Or, you know, if you know some of their language, it helps, but to know enough of the language to hold a conversation, a meaningful conversation, is difficult. So making friends in China is hard for a foreigner too. Back to the meeting new friends. You do meet foreigners from all over the world in Nanning. Like, I've got friends from Britain, the United States, Australia, Sweden. I've met people from Senegal. I've met people from Scotland. You know, so you meet a lot of people, but these people come and go. You know, like Andrew's here for 3 weeks every 8 months. Dave will go back to Britain, you know, every 3 or 4 months for about 6 weeks. You know, Mike, he's on his way to the States right now, and he says, I'll never come back to China. And then 2 months later, there you see him again. So, you know, so these people sort of float in and out of your life. So, you know, it's hard to hold on to friends, or to have friends around all the time like you did in your own country. You know, and family, that's another thing. When you're in China, you're far away from your family and your friends that you've known all your life type thing. So, you know, that's a little bit difficult. You know, so those are the tough things about being a foreigner in China. Now the adventure of being a foreigner in China is different. You come over here with a couple of bucks in your pocket, and you're rich, because it's 5 to 1. So, and everything here is so cheap. Like, we're talking, you know, 40 cents for a beer, $4 for a good bottle of brandy. You notice I'm only talking about alcohol. Well, I'm becoming an expert in alcohol in China, and well, you've got to major in something, I guess. You know, giving yourself a chance to reinvent yourself, moving to a foreign country like China, it gives you an opportunity to try new things. You know, these videos are a new thing for me, and I'm actually having a lot of fun making these. I walk down the street with a camera in my face, and people stare at me, and I tell you what I think about China and my life in China. And, you know, it's a way for my family and friends and people that I know back home to you know, keep up on what I'm doing with my life. And, you know, another thing, when I retired, well, over three and a half years ago, I was a little pot-bellied pig. I felt like I didn't feel very healthy. So when I came over to China, I was here about a month, and I decided, well, I'm going to hit the gym. And you know what? I did, and I've been going every second day, every day or second day now for approximately 3.5 years, and I feel a lot better for it. You know, I get out more. We travel a lot. You know, we've been all over the place, and I think that's on another video. Anyway, you know, so more active, learning the language, going to the gym, making videos, living in China. You know, and it's a different life than I was used to back home, which is good, especially when you're getting a little bit older. And, you know, you sort of lost that zest for, you get bored and lethargic and you really don't want to do a lot. You sit and watching TV and drinking beer and getting fat and eating too much and not exercising enough. And yeah, it changed for me, because now I'm healthier, I'm happier, I do more stuff, I've seen more, and I'm in a place where, you know, with Canadian dollars, you can buy just about anything you want, from a house to a car to another e-bike. No, I'd never replace Sam. That would just be not very nice. To, you know, to going out eating in restaurants, and like these are highfalutin restaurants that we can eat at, where you in Canada you'd say, oh geez, that's going to be, you know, a $300-400 touch. Here it might be $100 touch if you really go all out. You know, from just your daily routine of things that you do, you really can't spend a lot of money here. So if anybody's out there thinking, well, you know, retiring in China, can I afford it? Well, that's a lot of other foreigners that come here because they don't have enough money to retire in their own home country, so they come over here and they live quite good lives. You know, if you consider a couple thousand Canadian dollars is 10,000 RMB or more, well, for 10,000 RMB, you're living a pretty good life here in China. I've noticed being a foreigner in China is, I don't know, it sort of makes you special, because there's not a lot of foreigners in China. Well, there are in Beijing, Shanghai, places like that. But in places like Nanning, you know, there may be 200 foreigners in a city of over 7 million people. You know, and then you get into places like Bobai or Yulin that are farming communities off the beaten path, or even Beihai on the South China Sea. There are very few foreigners, and in Bobai, in the part of the village of Bobai that I was at, I was talking to some old Chinese guys that are 85 years old that have never seen a foreigner. They've never seen a foreigner in their town. So I would imagine I would be the first foreigner in some of those little communities. You know, so you're looked at as sort of an exotic creature, a prize turkey of sorts, where people want to know where you're from, what you think about things, what you eat, you know, just everything about you. And all of the girls want to catch your eye, you know, and it doesn't matter whether they're 16 or 60. They approach you with the idea that it makes you feel good. You know, I've never had girls in Canada look at me like that, which sort of makes me feel much better than I did in Canada, for sure. That's another video from Gweilo 60. It gives you a little bit of an idea what it's like to be a foreigner in China by somebody that's been in China for over the last 14 years. You know, if you like my videos, as always, subscribe, like, comment, share on Facebook. If you see it on Facebook, share. Then I get more hits and more people see my stuff, and it makes me feel better. Thanks for watching. Until next time.